That's where it was. That's where I was born. Yeah. And I think it was called Puta Memorial back then. No, the Puta Memorial Hospital. Hello, everyone. Hola, mis amigos. You're listening to Oh My God, Hi, Hijo de Dios, Hola. With me, George Lopez, porque ¿sabes qué? Let's do the show, porque I got a lot of things to do. I gotta go to that dry cleaner ahí. My kid fell, se pegó la cabeza. I gotta go get some Neosporin Paul.
You know what George is?
Oh, I'm sure he's around here somewhere.
What's his name? George?
Lopez.
George Lopez.
Oh my God!
OMG.
OMG! Hi!
Oh my God, hi! You know, when your wife likes somebody when they say, I feel like I already know you.
That's a good
but
sign.
With a smile on their face, moving towards you instead of going, I feel like I already know them, and they haven't moved at all. Go come and say hello to George. I feel like I already know him. They don't want to make a move that you know that they're not that excited to fucking meet you.
That's funny. But yeah, I know he called me when we were in the middle of playoffs. I stepped off to the side and he goes, can you get a hold of George? We got this part for him. And I think he'd be great for it. I said, hang on, let me call him. And it worked out. But
that guy that directed this African-American dude, the young guy, Ryan, I don't know his last name, but he's one of those dudes, man. Like, I think he's going to be a big director.
Really?
Like, he's from music and he's directing. Then he used, like, you know, I had the thing where I had to walk into this church. And then he hit some music like Bill Withers, but like a rap, jazzy Bill Withers. It changed my walk.
Wow.
Supposed to walk in all dark, you know, and then you just start walking, and he goes, they're over here, the bad people are on this side, just look at them and kind of, you know, and then just go up to the thing. But with no music, nothing. With music in that church, all
changed everything.
Locked in character.
Right
okay,
on.
So.
Very cool.
Talking about your son's playing baseball, right? Your son is?
Yeah, Julian. Good old Julian Bray. He's in his, he's 13. He got one more year in Little League, and he's going to do, he's going to play some travel ball this year at BTS.
Yeah.
Chatsworth. He's really, you know what's fun this year? It's great because he's really getting into the game for the first time.
He's enjoying it?
He's enjoying. He's a big Dodger fan.
Is there any other?
Yeah, right? Exactly.
He's a big Dodger fan. So, let me ask you guys what you think, because you have grandkids, you have kids. My daughter played a little baseball, but didn't. So, in Coronado High School in San Diego, Orange Glen High School, did you hear about that?
Yeah, tortilla-throwing.
No, I didn't.
So, the students and the coaching staff, after winning the CIF basketball championship, the alleged coach of the Coronado basketball team encouraged them to do their best, which was a little scuffle between the two sides, and Orange Glen High School is located in the Hispanic community. And then they were throwing tortillas, man.
Oh, shit. Wait a minute. I did hear about this.
To the other players, to the Latino players on the team.
I did briefly read this yesterday. That's right.
So, So CNN called, they emailed me to you know, see if I wanted to go on and talk about it, but I was like, why don't you call the parents or the teachers from that school or the coaches and talk to them? Why the fuck you want to talk to me?
Yeah.
Now, I can't do anything. And just like there's a Latino guy in New York, this fool right here that says, how come John Leguizamo and George Lopez don't talk about a shooting in New York like they talk about other things? Like, I mean, you can, but what do we do?
You know, I had a student when I was teaching the college level. He was from the South, African-American guy, and he told me something. I put it in my phone, and I've never changed it. You know, he said, my daddy used to say, some things just need a whole lot of leave alone. And so in the case of you and Leguizamo, why don't you say something about this? Some things just need a whole lot of leave alone. Why perpetuate the problem that's going on? Why give it more attention?
I mean, we're not law enforcement. We're not detectives. We're people.
Yeah. And you know how those detectives are too.
Yeah. How are they? You say.
Olvídate.
I say how they are, but I don't know. You know, I said yes. Like if I don't what the fuck. Listen, I get pulled over. I turn all the lights on 10 and 2. I put them at 2:30 at 9:45. So I don't know, but where are we, man? In this, I mean, you know, your grandkids, your son. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's just.
I just feel like they try to they reach out for representation because you happen to be Latino or Mexicano, and they just assume. But you're right, going to the core of the problem and going to the community. And
who's gathering tortillas at
someone needs to find out where they're going.
I wasn't the best athlete. I never even took a fucking chorizo burrito to the game. Like I never put it in my bag where they'd be like, "Hey, what's this?" Say, fucking throw it out.
Tinfoil.
Never took it. I left my shit separate. My cleats, my gloves.
It all depends, who put them up to where they were coming from. Because I can go back to when my kids were in high school, and my daughter was going to be 50. She was a cheerleader in high school, and I'd go and I'd sit in the student section. My wife would go sit with the adults, the parents. I had more fun with the kids back then, and they were throwing corn tortillas then. But just to be traviesa, it was just like a frisbee, because they weren't throwing them at the Mexicans, because there was a bunch of Latino. Half the student body there was Latino at the time. It was just a fun thing to do. They were wasting food, but it wasn't racial at all. What happened back there at the basketball tournament sounds like, and you only know by what the news is telling you, it sounds like it was racially motivated. Yeah. And if it was, shame on them. But that doesn't reflect on everybody around the world of the United States. It reflects on that school and those parents. And
see, that's why I asked him, because me,
I'd be the same as you, bro. It sounds better when you,
hey, why don't you watch Night Soccer on Netflix? What the stuff fucking bothers me?
Don't ask me shit.
All the dates. What day did you go to Vietnam? Your first day in Vietnam?
February 1st, 1968.
Come on.
Wow. Oh my
He
God.
remembers all the dates. My grandmother too, but not the dates. Like if I said, "Hey, Grandma, can I take some guitar lessons?" Like the fucking accordion. She paid for. I don't know what the fuck every Latino kid in San Bernardino Valley in the fucking early '70s was trying to play the accordion. There wasn't no Ramon Ayala, there was no Buki, there was no main.
Nothing.
And even when they played at your house, you just couldn't wait for them to be done because we spoke English, and then they come playing mariachi music, and all your friends are like, we'll see you tomorrow. And you grew up in the valley, and then they start playing, okay, mariachis are playing, and then everybody, my grandmother would pass out, and the fucking paramedics would come. And you think people would leave? More people showed up.
More people showed up, is right.
But it's all so. And then in flying now, like in flying, I've been flying these last couple weekends. If you watch the news, people are fucking losing their minds on planes, man. On Southwest, this lady punched the flight attendant like they were.
Oh yeah, knocked her tooth out.
And fist and people fucking tripping on planes, and a flight attendant that was just flying tried to rush the cockpit. What is all that about?
Yeah,
what is that?
I have no idea. A couple of weeks ago, I was flying. I went to a speaking engagement in Austin, Texas, and American Airlines has been on the news because their pilots haven't been coming back, the flight crews, bad weather.
Down.
Yeah,
they
so
1,000 flights.
I went. Yeah. I was there, and their home base is in Dallas, Texas.
Right.
So their Dallas, Texas, and Houston had inclement weather. My first flight got canceled. So I was there at the airport. My flight was due to leave at 8:30 in the morning. I was there at 5:30 in the morning. And I got there
10 minutes before.
I got there at 5:30 in the morning. I'm in line. My flight is canceled. He says, not a problem. We got another flight. You'll make it. It's a 7:15. Plenty of time. I said, okay. You sure? Because I don't want to get jacked over. No. So I go in the TSA line. Well, TSA, they're short on people too. It took me so long to get through TSA. Wow. And then when I got up to the gate, now they close the gate 15 minutes before you take off, and they don't open it again. Yeah. I got there at 7:03. The gate was closed. Me importa madre who you are and where you're going. Dude. Get me on another flight. 5 flights later, I got home. I was due to be back at Ontario at 11:30 in the morning. I landed at 11:05 that night. And everybody was pissed off in the airport. Everybody, people are pissed off. This flight, they're yelling. Dogs that are supposed to be service dogs, they're barking. They're tired. Get me someplace where I can shit. I want some food, anything.
Who was that, the people or the dogs?
Both. And so I just sat back. I would just go sit in the corner and look at everybody, and I'd laugh. It's the first time. Hey. I just laughed. What are you going to do? You're not going to get that plane here any sooner.
Listen, I don't know if you can get a superhero costume that big, Bill. This dude.
I think you can.
We'll just take some of that material, and next week we'll come with one like a fucking cat suit, and you just go to the airports and you just squash beef. You're the beef squasher. There'll be a lot of people that will follow you around. Is that the beef? I just missed the beef squasher. And he just goes in there, man. Like he already answered the prompt to tortillas. Something a lot of leave alone. This dude missed his flight. He don't care. He needs to have just one suit that they know. They see him.
Why not?
Nothing metal, no pockets.
No pockets.
Just let him do, man.
One piece.
He gets there at 7:12. They're like, come on, 7. Hey, the beef squasher, come on, man. Get out of here.
And I feel sorry for those attendants because everybody's on there. They're already pissed off. And then to top it off, as I go to get on that last flight, one of the guys that works the desk there, and he's helping people. He's checking you in when you get on.
Yeah.
And so before you go down that tunnel, he says, okay, hey, you're that guy from Netflix. You're Gil Carrillo. And I said, yes. He says, wow, hey, everybody, we have a celebrity on the plane.
Great.
And so all the attendants want to come out and take pictures. And they took pictures. The guy behind me says, can we take a picture? I said, sure. But you know what? Why don't we do it on the inside of the plane? Because these people back here, they're pissed off. They just want to get out of here.
Yeah.
There is.
So let's just get it out of the way, and we'll do it in there. It's great to get that, but you got to know your crowd.
I think you leave like a little sausage, like a little Vienna sausage, like squashed on the chair.
That's it.
Here. I thought that
That'll be your mark. That's the mark right there.
That fucking beef squasher was here. But then he figured it out. But it's a pain in the ass. And just when you think that people that fly for a living used to be like maybe they had a job and they always wanted to be a flight attendant, and now they're flying, but then they get to fly the world and for free and all this.
Yeah.
Now I don't think it's that anymore. I think it's a career and it's a profession, and a lot of those people that were flying, God bless you for flying, because you get a lot of. There's not as many borrachos. There's a lot of people that they've stopped drinking on the planes. Like they stopped serving people.
Yeah.
Because they're throwing chingados like. Over here.
Except for first class.
All dots for beer right now.
Well, I just got back from Cabo with the wife and the kids yesterday from flying back when I was texting.
How come you look like you don't get any sun?
Huh? I did. I got a little sun, but we almost didn't make the flight. And the thing was, because of American Airlines, and they cut down on all the staff that was there,
Right.
we decide we're going to go outside the hotel the day before. We go to Cabo Wabo.
Yep.
To get a thing of tequila for Father's Day. So I get one, my brother-in-law, Joseph, and then he gets one for me, and my wife gets one. And so we got these tequilas. We find out at the last minute that we can't ship them out. We have to take them with us. And we did carry-ons. So in and out with the kids, because Jax is 4 years old, Julian's 13, so we got the kids everywhere. So we're in and out of the airport. So we decide now we got to check in Julian's bag with the tequila stuffed in there and tell him, no, there's nothing in customs. No, I don't got anything. We got to fly it over. So we get to the airport, and we stuff it in there, and now we're getting ready to race. I take it back. Hang on. There's more to this. When we left the hotel, Vanessa loves to eat oysters. She loves seafood. So we're going to do oysters, and she wants to do
chorro.
Chorro, basically. Aguachiles. They didn't have the Arco, the island. They cut us short off of there because of some weather. So she decides they're going to pick us up at 3:30, and as we're driving, she's going to hustle the guy, give him $20. Stop under a fucking freeway underpass on Cabo. We find a spot. 15 minutes, we eat. Bam, bam, bam. Fucking amazing food. Get back into the...
So 15 minutes to eat under an overpass in Cabo. Amazing food. Over here they got letters A, B, C, D. If they had a letter under the underpass, it'd be like a fucking P. A por qué. Fucking keep going.
Anything to keep the wife happy. So
damn, dude, eating under an underpass on the way to the airport.
Both kids are in there playing on their iPads. And all right, okay, good, hurry. We're eating. Damn. We get in there. And we were supposed to be there 2 hours early because we were an hour and 5 minutes late. They almost didn't let us on the fucking plane. And Vanessa's begging, no, please, please, please let us on. And so finally they did after fucking hardcore conversation with my wife and the attendant, they let us on. And as we're going through security, you know those bitchy license plates that you get from Cabo? I had gotten a gift from my brother-in-law, and now they're telling us we can't take it. And I'm just fucking, Vani, I love Joseph and everything, but just, you know what? Let's just leave it. We got to go. We're going to, they're boarding right now. She fucking grabbed that thing and jumped. I won't say the Hertz commercial who we were talking about, but she started jumping over luggage and everything else, went downstairs, and they just took it and checked it in, and we just made the fucking flight yesterday.
Wow,
we just made the flight. I was like...
Does it drive you crazier? Because I can't be like
my
that.
wife would have driven me crazy. That'd have been my wife. I'd have said, "Get that there." You know,
Stay with them. Let's go, kids.
Let's go.
Nah, I couldn't. It's just nuts, but there's lack of personnel there. And I'd seen them bring those license plates on board before we've been to Cabo, so I didn't get it. I was trying to slip the guy $20 to let us take it. He's like, "I can't. You got to go check it in." She went all the way downstairs, God bless her,
and made
checked
it back
in,
up.
We just made the flight. We just made the flight, and then when we got to LAX, the fucking belt was broken for. We were standing there for 30 minutes for one check bag because of tequila. Because we always do carry-ons. You're the same way. If you don't have to, it's easy just to do the carry-on. Get the fuck out.
Well,
what a day yesterday.
Okay,
it worked
so
out.
I don't know anybody that works it. What's the number again? 818 what?
533-1843.
818-533.
1843.
1843. Fucking numbers. 533-1843. So if you work for an airline company, wherever you are, wherever people are listening to this podcast, because people are listening, and I think it's because of Gil, it's not because of me.
Yeah.
It's because of the beef squasher.
The beef squasher.
So if you work for an airline, you don't have to say your name. Give us some details behind the scenes of what's really going on. Because they've canceled. Yesterday I was in Chicago and they canceled 1,000 flights over the summer. So,
see, and my hat goes off to those people because all they do is listen to people complain, and justifiably complaining, but there is nothing happy about what's going on over there. So it's a catch.
Well, you know what's got you, man. I always have a window seat, and this morning when we left from Chicago, you know how the guy with the flashlights were off because they're trying to save batteries. All right, so I should have thrown some fucking So Ben Bray Hernandez is from.
I'm from actually born in San Fernando. Was born
in the San Fernando Hospital.
Actually, I was born in Panorama City, born in the Kaiser Hospital, Panorama City, and we grew up in Van Nuys in the San Fernando area, same as you.
So, all right, so I grew up born in General Hospital. I think there was a women's hospital there. It's a parking lot now. I think it was a parking lot back then.
They used to have a place just for for ladies that are pregnant. They used to have a section of the hospital right there, right off of Mission, right in the corner.
Really?
That's where it was. That's where I was born. Yeah. And I think it was called Puta Memorial back then. No, the Puta Memorial Hospital. PMH.
I think it's still around.
There's a lot of Puta Memorials over there. Deja Vu. I think that hospital that I was born in is now Deja Vu, right off of Alameda and the one. But I thought I was born in the General Hospital, but then I was born in the auxiliary, the woman's hospital.
Wow.
Because I think it was such a factory that
everybody's
it's almost like
babies.
there's a See's Candy right there, like on the way to the airport. That only one factory. That's where all the candy comes from.
I used to work at a gas station. My brother-in-law's gas station, right across the street from the General Hospital.
Really?
And all these interns used to come in there with scrapa cars. You know, they were just trying to get through.
Yeah.
Get through their residency and the training and everything. It was tough.
It's amazing that things that we used to revere, doctors and all that shit, are the shit that people try to cut back on.
Yeah.
You know? And
always
people
like
go
teachers.
to the dude, Sean, the guy that does security, comes up to us, you know, and he looks at his teeth and he goes, "I got these in Mexico, boss." Fucking white dude goes to Mexico to get some fucking dientes, eh? I said, "Have you been in the heat? Because those motherfuckers will melt." That shit they make those license plates out of. He said that he got them done under the underpass of the freeway. the oyster shells.
Oyster shells.
Turned inside out. They file them down. Inside out. So, what's great is that, you know, Gil, you know, I reached out to Gil when I saw the Netflix thing because everybody was watching it. So
It's amazing.
And I called his partner and I said, "Hey, you still get a hold of Gil?" We got a hold. He came to see me at the Laugh Factory. You know, friends with him. He's been in here. People love this dude, man. They love this guy.
That was a bomb. Thank you. That was a great night for my family. They loved it. The fact that they got to go up and meet you and spend time, and you were so gracious with them. And plus, to boot, you were funny.
Thank you.
I mean, God bless. It was a great night. I was laughing. I was laughing my ass off.
I could hear him. Gran, you heard him laughing up. Horvath University. Yeah, man. He got a big shout out, and
That's amazing. Deserved, well deserved, man.
Just another Mexican, just another overweight
Went to
Mexican.
Vietnam, dude, but came back.
Dude, you're a
Sheriff.
fucking community hero, bro. Are you kidding me?
Thank you.
It's
You know,
amazing.
It's
a great story.
Nothing else stands out. One of the most important things out there is I can't begin to tell you how many people are writing me saying, you represent us. We're so proud. We now have a Latino, you know, and everybody knows you. It's a different type, you know, from what I've done, because I was a nobody, you know. I'm just a cop. I'm just a Mexican. Grew up in the neighborhood.
Don't say that. I mean, don't say that, because I think we say that like
We say that a
it's
lot,
not-
yeah.
You know, there's a Latina that discovered hand sanitizer. You think everybody knows her name, but fucking Kleenex, everybody knows that one.
Everybody knows that name. Yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
There was a lady there was a Latina nurse that invented hand sanitizer. And they would go, Lupe, bring it. And she went like this, but it had dried already. No, she really did. No, she really did. I don't know. Okay, Lupe, my leg hurts. Until I get there, everything ya está seco. But look how clean my hand. But I think she did.
Yeah.
And her name is not Purell. Like,
Yeah,
somebody
right.
from Lakeview Terrace.
Lakeview
Purell.
Terrace,
The Purell.
Espinoza.
The guy that invented Caesar salad right there in Tijuana.
In Tijuana.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You know, he's a big guy. So I'm just astounded by how many people are so gracious to me.
And we need, I mean, that's a hero on a huge level.
Huge
I mean,
level, yeah.
that's a global. I mean, people not only by that case and those things, but crime and crime documentaries and crime. I mean, listen, they ain't enough fucking white people getting killed. Those motherfuckers have dinner murder fucking theater where they eat and then they go fucking try to solve a murder, eh? You think fucking CNN would call them about throwing fucking tortillas or fucking bologna at each other? So, you know what I mean? I mean, it's like
Yeah.
Colonel Mustard in the back room.
Yeah, Colonel Mustard with a rope in the kitchen. You know, why not? He did it. That's all we do is play games like that.
But until you listen, people are fascinated by crime. One of the things that just gives me chills is when Richard Ramirez was hiding below in the kitchen on the other side of the counter, waiting for the girl to look over because he
Dale Okazaki.
to see
right.
her face.
That's right.
And he was wait. He knew she was going to do it. He
Yeah.
was waiting there for her to look over so he could see the fear in her eyes.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. And it's like, I know that you always say, when I watch the documentary, you're saying like, it's like, look, I was just a young cop who was asked to do this, but you're put in a position that you just used, you came with it. You were ready. You were put in a position where you were, you applied everything and all your knowledge, and it was just amazing to watch.
Thank you. I was a fortunate man. I got there early. I was the youngest guy there for 7 years, and then Frank Salerno, who was my partner, who had worked on Hillside Strangler, he could add anybody he wanted, and he chose me to be his partner.
Yeah.
So I was floating, and then
Why do you think he chose you? What do you think now that you look back at it? I think that time you said, 1 week I'm here and the next week I'm eating,
that's right. I'm eating something I didn't know what it was.
Parmesan.
Chicken Parmesan. I didn't know what this shit was. And so I think Frank, he says, I was young. I spoke Spanish, which is always a help up there.
Right.
And he thought that I had something. Well, I had a decent reputation since I had been there. I turned a couple of cases around and got some people to come out on baby cases. It was really, so I had a reputation for doing good work. I was young, I was enthusiastic. I loved the job, and I love people. And you don't have to be big and bad or anything. You treat people with compassion. One of the baby cases, I was so stuck. A lady, I was convinced in my heart, but not in my mind yet. A lady had killed her own baby. And she was a Mexican national. So I was a young investigator up there. So the first thing I did is I called the office and I spoke to a guy I said, who's the oldest guy up in the office right there? And they said, Jack Fuglin. And I said, let me talk to Jack. So Jack on. His former partner was my boss, my lieutenant. So I said, Jack, I got a question. I got a lady here. Jack, I believe she killed her kid. But the last thing I want to do is admonish her of her constitutional rights, because if she didn't kill her kid, now that's trauma on top of trauma. I don't want to accuse her for baby's already dead and she didn't do it. But if I don't do it, and she did kill her baby, and soon as I walk out, she's heading for south of the border. He said, kid, you got a tough one. He says, you better call your boss.
Wow.
So I called up my boss, his former partner, Barrett Fitzgerald. I said, Fitz, I got a problem. He said, what is it? I ran the whole thing down to him. He said, and he called me kid. He said, well, kid, he says, that's a tough one. You got a tough one right there. He said, when you make your decision, call me up and let me know how it turned out.
How'd you make your decision?
That was the advice he gave me.
Wow.
So I went back in there, thought, I'm going to admonish her. And I got her to cop out to killing her kid.
Wow.
And and I just sat there. So I called him up and I said, hey, she copped out. He says, good job, kid. I know you do the right thing.
Jeez, you were literally on your own.
And that was it.
He left it to you.
Yes.
Wow.
It was my decision.
And your instinct said,
Do it.
okay.
And so, and it turned out she had killed her kid. And her tia, because I had been down, the guy that killed, the baby she killed, the father of that child was somebody I'd gone down to Mexico to bring back as a witness, surviving victim.
Wow.
And he saw her down here and he hit it, and then he went back to Mexico. When I went down to the village he was from, it was poor adobe huts, no roads, pobreza. And so I went in there, got him and a guy named Pedro Gonzalez, brought him back to testify. I gave them money. I'd give them money every week to be here. Pedro was going to pay, the next day, was going to come down and pay a coyote to get him across. I said, come on, take him on a plane. So he brought him back here. The girl's tia, since then, had come back, and she was living with a tia over here in La Puente. And the tia was right there when I took the lady in. I talked to her, and I went and told tia, she's not going home with you today. She's going to stay with us for a while. And the tia says, ¿Y por qué? And I said, well, in Spanish, she's responsible for the death of the baby. And she says, no. I said, de veras. And so she asked if she could talk to her. She went in there, talked to her. She said, why? In Spanish, why? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué lo hiciste? Why did you do it? And she says, no, I just told him that. It's not the truth. And she snapped back at her and she says, yes, it is. Carrillo says it is. It is.
Wow.
The tia had that much faith in me.
Where's that one at?
That one, she's still in custody. Why
All right, so we're gonna do Gil, the beef squasher.
The beef squasher.
Hey,
right.
you own the rights to your story, right? He'd be like, yeah. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Have you been approached at all about your story?
No.
I can't believe it.
People
I'm
have approached
watching-
me to write books, but I've never. They say, why not? Now, number one, I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Right.
Not criminal trouble.
Right.
But I know I'm saying it right now on the podcast. My wife would be looking. I know who you're talking about right there. I know who you're talking about right there.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get anybody in social
We'll
problems.
say it's Grant then.
Yeah, we'll blame it
The
on
what?
that.
We'll say it's Grant. We'll bring some years. We'll bring the years up.
Bring one of the gavachos in. Don't worry. We'll figure it out.
Let's say he went to Banning High School.
But
When I retired, I even bought me a brand new laptop just so I could sit
New
down
information.
and write a book.
Yeah.
Look.
And I ended up giving that one to my grandson.
Oh my God.
Maybe I'm just too lazy. I don't have time to sit down and do it myself. So if somebody one day will come up and say, hey, I'll be your ghostwriter.
Well,
I'll write a book.
What's the number again? 818 533-1843. If you're a book writer and you want
There you
Gil.
go.
Armor Contain would be a good one. He did my book. Yeah.
But earlier, I was scrambling for words what to say because I was so blown away when I watched it twice, and the fact that you seized the moment when you were asked to be part of that crew and to solve that crime, and the only thing I kept thinking, and I talked to George about this earlier, it's like it'd be so interesting to follow your journey. Secondary being the Night Stalker, but how you became who you became from your humble beginnings until you got onto the force, and how this all happened and coinciding with your personal life, your family life, and also this, because I remember at one time your wife was talking about like things were on edge in marriage.
They were. It was. I'm married. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary this last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But
Wow.
trust me, she's the glue that has kept everything together over the years. Right after the Night Stalker case, Laurel Erickson and I believe Paul Skolnick They were part of the documentary. They took us out for dinner.
Oh, nice.
And they took us out for dinner. Frank and his wife, my wife and myself, we went to the Johnny Carson show, and then we went out to dinner after that.
Oh, wow.
It was on
Nice.
And I had stopped drinking entirely.
Really?
Yeah, because I was drinking, I don't want to say too much, but I was drinking a lot during the Night Stalker case, And
So right
before
after the case you
yeah,
stopped?
I stopped.
Cold turkey.
Right after we did it, and I hadn't touched a drop in 30 days.
Wow.
And we went out to dinner, and my wife was drinking, and Laurel was drinking. They're both they're having fun. And Laurel is talking about Frank, how when he has something to say, he says it. When not, he doesn't. He says, on the other hand, Gil should have been a politician, because he said when he's got nothing to say, he'll tell us. When he's got something to say, he'll tell us what he needs out. When he's got nothing to say, he'll talk to us about anything you want to talk about except for what we want. But he's a great guy to be around. And pretty soon my wife is starting to cry. And she's saying, so this case has changed me. I'm a different man. I won't even have a drink with her. Wow. And she says, I'm afraid, it's leading to problems. And I said, wait a minute, stop the madness. Laurel, I don't want to hear Night Stalker investigator headed for divorce, film at 11.
Yeah, right?
Pearl, you keep our problems personal. Don't talk about them. And you, Mr. Waiter, give me tequila on the rocks. Don't let the ice hit the bottom of the glass. Get them rolling, And
Give me a backup.
Yeah, and I'll drink with you.
Yeah.
And so things were kind of rough. It was tough because I wasn't around, and I realize it now. But everything's together. Everything's good, and she's the one that has kept everything together. She's fortunately for myself, she's riding this wave that I'm on because people are recognizing her and saying what a strong lady she is because of the documentary, and so it's all good.
That's fantastic.
I was excited to see her. I mean, she's great. She's great. You see her, you're like, oh, she goes, I feel like I know you.
That's
and then
amazing.
Took some nice pictures, man. It's great.
That's
really
amazing.
Very, you also, I'm not that fortunate. The women in my life have been mean to me, and I don't respond well to that. And I, God bless you, and I know, people that have somebody that's really great for them. I mean, maybe circumstances in my life, the way that I was raised, or, I didn't see a lot of healthy relationships that maybe, it kind of, you go down that road in real life that, I don't know. Is it too late? Yes.
I thought you wanted to answer that.
But I know you and your wife as well,
Yeah, she's been amazing. I mean, it ain't easy. Marriage is not easy, And this was, for me, it's the third one. It took me 3 times.
Oh,
Good
shit.
thing I got three.
See, anybody who says marriage is easy has never been married.
Never been married.
Yeah,
it's tough.
There you go.
Anybody who says they slept like a baby has never had a child.
Right.
Or one eye open at night hasn't been married. That's right.
That's right.
But yeah, it's for me, very similar to George's background. Like, I didn't have very positive role models. My father was never around. My mom was typical, Mexican mother, tough love. And it was career-wise, not came easy, but I was very blessed and very fortunate. And I made up for the lack of education by just instincts and working really fucking hard. And just really, and watching by, learning by watching and learning by doing. And when I was on sets at a young age.
But what did you want to do? How did you get to a set? And also the people that are watching, like, if you don't have a father, you don't have a parental or whatever, that doesn't mean you give up.
No, you don't.
Just means that whatever you decide to do is not going to be as easy. Well, it's not easy if you have both parents. Nothing's easy.
Nothing's easy.
So don't think because you're alone or you drink and you don't think you can stop, or you have this, or you've suffered loss, that you can't get up and continue and be successful in whatever you want to do. There's a step. That's why there's steps and there's a fucking ladder to get to the top that you just don't elevate up, or the bottom isn't the top. The bottom is the bottom, and to get to the top, it takes steps.
It does.
Then it doesn't
It
happen.
does.
That
Jaime
doesn't happen
Escalante said it best: "Con ganas, you can do anything."
You can do
Ganas.
anything. Ain't
Yeah.
that the truth? And,
Yeah.
and you go through trial and tribulations as a young child, even as a young adult or an older adult. We all go through those things, even now. So it's, it's just for me, living in the barrio, living on Van Nuys. I was off of Delano Street
Yep.
and Van Nuys Boulevard, right there down the. I lived right down the
That was
street
like
from
heavy
Van Nuys
duty.
Police Station.
That was heavy duty right there.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
that was.
right from where?
Delano.
Right on
Van Nuys.
Delano Street, 14th Street, Delano and Van Nuys Boulevard, right down the street from the Van Nuys Police Department. And I was raised there, 6 kids, single mother, grandmother who raised us also. And it was tough. There's not much to think outside the box. Our escape was television, to watch, I Love Lucy and all these things. And I think subconsciously that was my escape. Didn't ever know that I would be in the business. Played a lot of sports. There was a lot of community centers like the Boys Club, Delano
Yep.
Street. So you played soccer and baseball. So it kept us busy. It kept us out of the gangs. And my mom was tough that way. And, as we went along, we all started boxing. So boxing, and I wasn't very good. My brother, John Bray, he was on the U.S. Olympic team with Oscar De La Hoya and Shea Mosley.
I remember that name.
Yeah.
I remember that name, John Bray.
Yeah, John was amazing. He was number one in the world for 5 years in the early 90s. Number one in the United States, number 2 in the world for almost 6 years in the early 90s. Yeah, it was amazing. He was on the U.S. Olympic team, and we just
And
all
what did he do in the
boxed.
Olympics? Did he?
No, he actually left. He had some issues. He left and turned pro, and he had my dad's disease. He loved alcohol, bad choices.
Is that from your dad? Did I get that from your
My
dad?
father.
I loved alcohol.
It was pops.
I had a sister that loved alcohol to death.
Yeah.
At age 47. So
That's rough. It's rough. But he had a great career as an amateur. He fought out of everybody's camp. Tyson's, Holyfield's. He was sparring Holyfield when he was 17. So we all boxed, and I was okay. But it was nice to have a good reference to my little brother, what level you had to be at. So I knew that I had to figure out what else I was going to do. And I was just lucky. I was training at the Jet Center, which was on Friar Street,
Yeah.
Van Nuys
I
Boulevard.
went over there with Blinky.
Yeah, with Blinky
Benny the Jet.
Rodriguez.
Benny the Jet
Yeah.
Urquidez was never as big as Bruce Lee, but on the level.
On that level.
On that level
He
with
would
Bruce
knock
Lee.
people out with body shots. He was crazy.
Amazing. You
Yeah.
know Benny the Jet Urquidez?
Benny Urquidez and Blinky Rodriguez. Actually, yeah. So I was
He was
training
big
there
in
and-
Japan,
Yeah,
Benny.
huge.
And he had a face like a.
Yeah, he was
weird
mixed.
face,
He was
man.
mixed, like Mexicano and Japanese. And Blinky was a badass too. Blinky was a great fighter.
And those dudes like Benny Urquidez or Blinky, those guys out there, if you look them up, amazing fighters. Not a lot of attention, but in that time
Fucking warriors.
of Chuck Norris even and Superfoot Wallace and they were all like Benny the Jet is the guy.
And you'd see those guys coming to the gym all the time. So I just hit in the bag. Had a director approach me, asked me to audition for a part. I was 20, and my little
Who was
brother.
that? Ron Shelton?
Huh?
Was that Ron
Yeah,
Shelton?
Ron Shelton was over
Because
there.
Ron
yeah.
Shelton used to hang out at the Jet Center.
Yeah, at the Jet Center.
And he did what? Tin Cup, and he did
Yeah.
what movie did you do?
What else?
Because Ron Shelton was a big writer.
Big
what did he do,
writer,
Grant?
director.
White Man Can't Jump.
White Man Can't Jump.
Wow, that's a
But what's the didn't he do a boxing one too? He did a boxing movie with Antonio Banderas.
The one with Sam Jackson, the Great White.
Bone.
Huh?
Play it to the bone.
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 That's hey, that's mine. That's what I do.
Play it to the bone.
Myself, babe.
So I just, I took advantage of the opportunity, and I met all these Latino stuntmen in the business, and I worked 2 weeks on this movie, made more money than I ever imagined, and I just started learning the business on set, learning how to drive cars and high falls. I was a stuntman for over 20 years, and made the transition into stunt coordinating and second to directing, and then specifically directed second unit just for Joe Carnahan and David O. Russell. And then made the transition to directing, 8 years ago? And I done a couple of episodes of television, and then we did El Chicano together.
Yep.
That I wrote. It was kind of a
Do you see El Chicano?
No.
You got to see it. You guys have
cool,
to see it.
kind of a Mexican vigilante superhero. And it was a dedication to my younger brother who passed away from gang violence. And it was kind of the El Chicano theme was kind of a metaphor of not having a father. I always felt if my dad was around, maybe he would have still lived, you know?
El Chicano could be like Daredevil.
Yeah.
Like the way that the Daredevil was like a show.
Exactly.
Because he was protecting
his community, his barrio, and giving back to the people.
I can understand.
And they would, they would hear his motorcycle, and they would be, cholos would be outside the house, and then they'd hear his motorcycle, and they'd just look up, like, oh shit, this dude's gonna come over here.
Here he comes, yeah. But it was a blessing, and it's been great. I'm now doing a lot of television and
a lot of television. So after El Chicano, like you started doing a lot.
A lot of television. I'm doing. I'm Rob Lowe show, Lone Star. I'm doing 911 next. I'm doing the new Texas Walker Ranger series that I'm directing.
Who's the Texas Walker Ranger?
I don't know who the new actor is. I literally just booked it a couple of days ago. It's a new actor. It's the next generation. I do Roswell. I did the last 4 seasons of Queen of the South. Wow. And to be Mexican American who was born and raised in Los Angeles,
it's big.
It's crazy. Yeah, there's only me.
There's only him.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Yeah, I feel
That's
very
awesome.
blessed. It's taking care of the family.
But also for people that want to do, how did you go? You were in, and he was in Lady Gaga's movie.
Oh,
Star is Born. He was in Star is Born in the bar. I could have said that could have fucking been me,
Well, it was. Well, you build relationships with actors.
The parts I get are the parts where I see other people and go, man, that could have been me.
That could have been George. What's up?
Huh?
Well, you build these relationships with actors when you're working as a stunt coordinator. So I'd work with Bradley Cooper on Silver Linings Playbook and the A-Team, and so Bradley was directing, and he gave me a call and said, "Hey, you want to play this little part?" And get a little scuffle in the bar. And I said, "Yeah, man, I'm actually home. I could do it." So it was great. So it's always nice when you get those calls.
Did you see Silver Linings Playbook?
No.
All right, lad.
I didn't have time. I didn't have time for a bunch of movies.
Fucking watering get some sprinklers. They stop watering the fucking grass all day.
He just wants to get away
That
from the
fucking
wife
plantas
just outside.
out there with that little bottle. Hey, my grandfather used to water the grass, and I would say, "What the fuck's he doing out there?" And then when I had my house, and one night I was out there, and the sun started going down, I started watering the grass. Like, oh no,
now I know why.
it's peaceful as shit out there.
Yeah, it's
man.
quiet.
You get to think and.
Unfortunately, my wife likes to water the grass.
But especially with good pressure, and I didn't want to water the grass because if I was out in the backyard wetting myself with the hose, my grandmother would throw a fucking bar of zest out there. fucking horror.
Take a shower.
Can you imagine, man? You're out there having fun with your friends and they throw a bar of soap at you.
Gotcha.
Hey, while you're out there,
How about that?
Clean up.
Joey, fucking clean up. But yeah, it's interesting to see because you're the only
Mexican American television director right now. Yeah, I mean, there's guys Iraritu and the guys that are actually from Mexico, from here, that are born in Mexico, but Mexican American right now that's actually working. It's unfortunate, but yeah, just right now it's just me.
That's what started this documentary. When the guy first approached me, and he was a Latino, Bryan Gracia, and he says, "Hey, we don't have." He was writing for Chicago PD. He was writing for the Mayans.
Right on.
And he says, "We don't have a Latino role model, a character." He says, "You look, all the Latinos are all villains.
Yeah.
They're bad, they're dopers, they're killers, they're this." He says, "But I've known you forever, and your story is good, and it's
incredible.
It's time that we have a Latino and a positive role model." So that's what started all this,
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, the wheels were turning when I was watching. I was like, this is a story that needs to be told, feature film wise. We don't have this. It's there's two sides to that street too. It's you have Latinos and Latinas that you want just to play positive roles, whether it's a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, not even being specific about, they just happen to be Latino, but they're playing that role. Who cares whether they're Mexican or not, or Puerto Rican or whatever? They're playing those roles, and that's a fight. The second part of that is trying to we have so many fucking stories.
Right.
Just like Tyler Perry, as we've talked about this, the picnics, the Christmases, the quinceañeras, the Thanksgivings, the comedy of those that are Latin-based. Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. We have a million stories about that. And amongst your story too, and which is incredible. For me, I always love the human story, the family, the familia. You know, what you, I'm sure it did. It changed your whole life, your perspective, and after the Ramirez thing, how you looked at things, how you dealt with, you know, your own children, your life, and the relationship built with your wife. It's a journey, man. That's where we go back to marriage. It's like it ain't easy, but you know, it's one of the most important things.
Yeah, I mean that if you look at Richard Ramirez, like, you know, maybe one of the most successful docuseries on Netflix, if you look at that, and then that guy was compelling to people, but all people, not just to Latino people, but compelling. And what made him compelling? That
was it just this?
I think it showed that cops were human. You know, that we have a life, we have a family, we have problems just like they do.
Right.
And yet we still have a job. You know, and I don't want to mix anything up because it's in the news right now, but there's one activist that was totally, police have to be held accountable. He's an activist against police officers. And his son just got tragically murdered.
Oh, jeez.
And so now he's asking for help. He wants to solve it. He says, yes, we need to solve it. So here's a man that's been bad-mouthing the cops, and now he needs the cops to help solve his son's murder. And I'm not taking away from either side of it, but that's a story in and of itself. You know, what's going to... And he says, justice is justice. The bad cops, they still say, have to be brought to justice. The suspect in this case has to be has to meet justice. And I don't think there are too many people, including cops, who would disagree with him. I certainly want bad cops to be handled.
And you don't go in to be a bad cop.
No.
You don't.
No.
You know, you're not nobody. They're not above the law.
That's right.
And
it gives all the good cops a bad name.
Right. That's right. So what does defund the police mean? Because I think you hear defund the police, and a lot of people may not know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean when you hear people say in Minneapolis or New York or wherever, we have to defund the police?
They're saying cut their funds and use the funds that they're cutting from them for social purposes, to help those get that money that we're spending on the cops and wasting our tax dollars and put them to the inner cities, so there's more to do for the people that need it, the kids on the street, food, work. Spend your money on us. Don't spend it on cops because they're not doing any good.
What about because, you know, think about this, like the cop has to be a psychiatrist, he has to be a law enforcement official, he has to be a psychiatrist, he has to be a sounding board, you know, they separate the man and the woman, he has to be a hero, and he has to be a fighter, all in the chance that when they roll up to a house or roll up to a building, they don't know what the fuck is in there. They say, hey, some guy's out here shooting somebody. There's a guy here. He has his people here. He has his person hostage. He has his kid in there. The kid might be hurt. The guy might have hurt his family. And the guy comes in a car, or two guys, or a couple cars. And now, look, I have things with the police. But I respect anybody in authority except people that I'm related to. But
I can understand that.
But when you roll up, think about that. Think about when you roll up and the door's open and the guy's gone and there's somebody in the street and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
It's not just knock on the door. Is Bill here? Hey, Bill, you got to come with me.
Yeah.
It's all of that.
All those things are going
in
through
one
your
thing.
mind.
And then you're fucking human. You want to go home to your family too.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you don't know if this is going to be the one
you
time.
don't know, man. Where they were in L.A. when they would call 911 and then fire at the cops from on top of buildings and shit. They killed a couple police officers like that.
Yeah.
I remember telling a trainee that he was his partner asked me if I'd swap with him for the night, so he needed to go. He just bought a cab, and I said, sure. He said, I got a trainee. He says, and the guy's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I said, not a problem. I'll work with him. And he was Latino. And so he came and he sat in the car, and he's nervous. He's nervous, man. He said, I just want to do good. I want to get off training. I want to be out here. And I said, son, two things we're going to accomplish tonight. Number one, we're going to have fun. If you can't have fun, then you're in the wrong job.
Shit.
And number two, we're going to go home to our families at the end of the shift. That's all we got to do. Don't worry about stressing yourself out. Can you write this? Can you write? We're going to have fun, and we're going to go home. And if we can do that, we're good.
I never heard anybody say
Wow,
that.
we're gonna have fun and we're gonna go home.
Yeah, because it was fun for me out there. I did have fun, and I enjoyed it. And I never got beef for just being a dick or an asshole or beating the shit out of somebody. But I had fun. I used to go into there were a few bars on Whittier Boulevard where on Friday nights, all the Latinos would go in there. They've got their money from construction, from wherever they work, and pobreza, and all the guys go into the Mexican bars. And I'd go in there for bar check. And I'd walk in there and I'd say, órale, cabrones. And I'd look around and I'd say, hey, cerveza para todos. And they start giving him beer. And the bartender look, he says, ¿y quién va a pagar? La casa va a pagar. And they'd all start cheering. I'd turn around and walk out. I had fun.
Yeah.
These guys, before I became a cop, I was driving for 3 months for RTD.
Damn, I didn't know that either.
See,
really?
I drove for 3 months for RTD. When they called me up to give me, called me in to give me a welcome aboard speech. Hey, you passed your probation. Yada yada. You're the only trainee that has ever been nominated for Driver of the Month. And hey, everything's going good for you. And I said, well, since you got me here, let me tell you. Now I'll give you my 2-week notice because I'm leaving for the department.
Oh, man.
And they said, well, if it doesn't work out, the door swings both ways. You're welcome back. And I said, well, thank you very much. But I can remember I had the first street, 26 line, went from Rowan and Dozier in East L.A. up First Street to Broadway and then out to Rimpau. Pico all the way to Rimpau and then turn around. Well, that was one that rode 24 hours. So at 1:30 in the morning, I'm going down First Street and all the borrachos would come out of the bars.
Oh, shit.
And these guys would be hiding their beer, trying to get on. No me importa, just get on, come on, drink your beer back there. I didn't care. And I'm driving him. Well, one time some guy got on and he was drunk. He was drunker than a shithouse mouse and he fell down and they got him, they stood him back up and now he starts cussing me out because he thought it was my bad driving it, but then he just couldn't hold on good.
Yeah.
So
Fucking falling down.
the guy started yelling at me. The other people, párale, aquí lo echamos. I just pull over at the next bus stop. They threw his ass out. Threw his ass out. I closed the door. Then everybody started cheering.
Well, I think when you bring that kind of attitude to a gig like that, like you build the people's trust in you.
Yeah. You
know,
do.
instead of being an asshole and leaving people, you're for the people and you're driving, and they sense that you're a good dude. That you don't. Hey, come on, I see your beer. Come on, get on.
Let's go, get on.
And then
yeah.
somebody gets out of hand, then they're the ones saying, pull over, man, we'll throw this fucking dude off.
And they did. And they got rid of him. That ended my problem. And even when I was a street cop or homicide, if you got arrested, if I arrested you, if you had to be arrested, you wanted to go in my car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we'd laugh, we'd have fun. I didn't care. Nothing.
That's great.
This is just business. And I've had murder suspects. I just reminded the wife, the guy's name was Dino P. Bradley. The guy got he took his partner to court and made him late. The judge locked up his partner for being late. And I told the bailiff, I said, run him. This guy's out there, Dino P. Bradley. He was in a turquoise outfit with turquoise curlers. And he had a warrant. So
Run him.
So we got him. I said, okay, Dino, now you're going with us, brother. We're going to take you back. You got a warrant. So we took him back and we booked him. I said, what does a P stand for? P is silent. It don't stand for a damn thing.
You said it was silent?
Yeah. So I called up the wife and I said, hey, I'm going to be a little late booking some guy. She says, hey, I thought you just had to go to court. You're going to come home straight from there. I said, dear, we ended up making an arrest. I'm going to be home a little late. I said, you don't believe me? I said, hey, Dino, you want to talk to my old lady? He says, yeah. He gets the phone. He says, hello, Miss Grillo? Yeah. Me and your husband, we're going to be home for dinner in a little while. And I said, give me that damn phone, Dino. So she now knew that I was really booking somebody. So,
Well, you know what? They used his name as a fucking dinosaur character. Dino P. Bradley.
Dino was a good guy, too. He just didn't pay his tickets.
He's always getting in trouble, huh?
Yeah, he as we're coming down 3rd Street, he said, just dump me off here. I can make my way home. I said, these Mexicans, they'll kill you.
Oh, my God.
We don't have any blacks living in this area. He said, these backwood motherfuckers, look at them. They had a hand car wash there. Been there forever on 3rd Street. He says, these backwood motherfuckers don't even have machines to wash their car.
They're still using it.
They're using the hands. The people wanted the hands.
Yeah. So,
They wanted the brushes and they wanted the hands. So, yeah, that's amazing, man. But I think there's a story there, right?
There's a total story. Are you kidding me? All these stories. Because I think that
I mean, he was a bus driver. Should not.
fucking had. That's great.
hey, me and Jackie Gleason.
Jackie,
To the moon, Pearl.
honeymoon.
To the moon.
you think about this, like, and I know you wanted to be a cop. You were looking
Yes.
forward to that. But
Yes.
what if the choice was you ended up just being an RTD bus driver?
Made more money. When I went to the sheriff's department, I took a pay cut from driving a bus
Unbelievable.
to be a cop.
That's unbelievable. You were just talking about that.
And they told me I started at $842 a month with the sheriff's department. They said, stay with us. I've been with them for 3 months. 9 more months and you're eligible. We'll get you right into because they had their own police department at the time. They had their own cops. And their cops started at $1,000 a month,
Oh man.
which was more money than I was making here. And plus they had overtime. They had all the best benefits.
Benefits.
They had it made. It was good. But bus driving gave me nightmares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
well,
the
you're
only
driving
job.
your back.
Yeah, well, not because of I was afraid somebody's going to hurt me, but with all the people complaining, hey, hurry up, I'm late. Hey, slow down, you're going to kill us. Get closer to the curb to make us jump. Jesus Christ, why don't you get us a bridge to get over there? It's too hot, it's too cold.
Just constantly in your fucking ear.
Yeah, so it was.
I didn't know that.
That was the only time I ever hit my wife. I was dreaming. I was going for a parked car, and I kept turning that goddamn wheel. And I jerked it. I hit her.
That bottle.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I was turning a wheel.
Yeah. So I had to apologize.
Right there,
Oh, my
receipt.
God.
I hit her right there, receipt.
Resita.
Hey, so I think nationwide, I think that police and highway patrolmen and all the troopers or whatever are at. I think this country needs them by the thousands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how do we, because of everything that's going on with the police, how do we encourage people who are male, I guess both male and female people, to have a career in law enforcement when if you look at it, you'd be like, fuck that, I ain't going in there.
It's a tough road to hoe, and I'll tell you right now, my grandson, who just had his 22nd birthday, his dad's a cop, and he said he was going to be a cop. He wanted to be a cop. And I said, son, why don't you be a fireman instead? Everybody loves a fireman, nobody loves a cop.
Trucks.
Yeah,
that's
it.
right.
That's it. Try it. He said, no. He says, my dad's a cop, and he said, I want to be just like you, Papa.
Wow.
I said, okay, well, you do it. You can do it on your own. And Papa won't help you. You got to do this all on your own. So he did it. He applied. When we found out he applied, he let the family know all at once. And there was, geez, he's really going through with this. He wants to do it. Started going through all of his tests, and he was passing everything. And then I hadn't heard anything about what was going on. And I asked him, we were out for our anniversary the day after Christmas. I asked him, I said, hey, son, you haven't heard from the department lately. Would you like me to check into it for you, see what's going on? He said, nope. No. So I got this. I said, okay. I stood out of it and let him go. And I told my wife when we left, I said, he's had a change of heart or he's been disqualified.
Oh.
Something happened. I said nothing. She said, what do you mean? I said, trust me.
Yeah,
That was too quick of a no.
Yeah.
Yep.
So later on, my wife tells me, she says, I talked to Renee, his mom, and she said that he's known for a couple of months. He had a change of heart, but he was afraid and embarrassed because he didn't want to disappoint you.
Wow.
And so I called the kid in the room. I said, son, you ain't never going to disappoint me. I think it's a wise decision. Have you talked to your dad? He said, yeah, my dad told me right away, just don't. If that's a bad time. And I said, you're a good kid. I love you. I don't care what you do. And so he had a change of heart. And so many people are going through that right now. It's going to take people to take a different look at the world, right now, that just says maybe they're not all that bad.
I mean, would you want a job
and they're
where
human.
people fucking lie to you? They don't want to see you. They don't want to support
You're always a target.
Fucking go by.
How do you talk to somebody that try and talk them into being a cop when everything they do is being viewed? They're in a fishbowl. tough time. Nobody likes you. There is no respect, and everybody's going to talk smack to you. You see a trend right now where people are going into stores and just taking anything they want. They're brazen, just doing that. A very dear friend of mine, restaurateur, says at least 2 a night, come in and eat, just get up there, not going to pay and walk out.
Walk out.
And so it's a tough time, and they're going to give you lip service, a lot of lip service going on, and everybody's got cameras. Now they're using body camera, which is good for the cops. I like body cameras for the cops so that people can see. There's two sides to every coin, but it's just a tough job to sell right now to young people out there.
What do people do, store owners do, restaurant owners do if somebody comes in there and starts to make them help themselves do some stuff and want to walk out?
They can't do anything. There's more civil liability. Security cops are being told, let them go. Don't do anything because of the civil liability to it. Then when you get to the point where in today's world, today locally in California, today where we have a district attorney that is minimizing everything, so you arrest them and they get a ticket to get out right away. They don't, here's a promise to appear, just like a traffic ticket. There's nothing to deter them. They're not going to spend even a weekend in jail.
Right.
I had a local burglary detective because I was doing a live Zoom with Channel 11. And at the time they're doing it, some guys are coming, they're running from the cops, they come to my gate. One guy's got a tire iron in his hand. The cops set up a perimeter. I mean, this is going on right now. I had to tell Channel, I got to go, I got an emergency. and so it was real. So this happened at 7:02 in the evening, and at 10:30 that night, the helicopter finally took off, closed it down, the guys got away. And so this was on a Friday. Monday, the burglary detective comes over to my house. Hey, want to see? Because I got him on camera. Hey, can we see this? Sure, here it is. This is what's going on. He says, okay. He says, we're going to throw everything we can at it. But he says, I'm going to let you know right now, burglary is a felony. But I have burglars copping out. Yeah, I did that burglary. Okay, can you give me my ticket so I can get out?
Oh, jeez.
Because there's no violence involved.
What it is?
Yeah, they're giving tickets for people to get out under the filing system, the discretions of the district attorney that we currently have in office. So it's
Man, you might not.
That's the one that's on recall. They got a recall petition going out on them. George Gascon. There's at least 14 cities in the county of Los Angeles that have submitted their.
Who's that dude Gascon?
Is this the one also that just before he got into office, there were some protests, and these protesters had put a crossing over a railroad track that could have possibly, I'm trying to think, to try to derail a railroad track, and there was a big investigation. And as soon as he came, they had evidence. They have it actually on camera, and then when he was voted in, he dismissed the whole case.
Yeah, he's.
Who is this dude, man? He's
George Gascon.
He doesn't feel very much like an L.A.
He was with LAPD before he left here, went up to San Francisco, and became the district attorney up there. They weren't happy with him. He's now down here. He filed with us. And here in LA County, and he's changed, socializing everything. No more gun enhancement. You're 17 years old, you kill 5 people, you still get out when you're 25. Can't file on you as an adult today.
Christ.
Man got 35 years in prison for killing his estranged wife in Southern California. Parole possible because of George Gascon directive. Yeah, that's not.
Gascon has directed his.
That's not.
When somebody comes up for parole, Gascon has directed his representatives, his deputy district attorneys, not to respond and not to attend parole hearings.
Fucking A, man. How is that possible?
How is that? How does he get away with that?
Well, he can. He's reduced enhancements. So you go in, you commit a homicide with a gun. You're an ex-con with a gun. The gun is stolen.
You shouldn't be having a gun, a stolen gun, any gun.
So there it is. So all they're going to file on you is the murder charge. No more enhancements. You know, he's trying to minimize.
Wow.
So there's a.
Damn, dude,
it's 14 cities right now have filed or had just, and they're just saying it, but it's a vote of no confidence. Has no weight on them, but politically they're letting everybody know there's a vote of no confidence.
Did he campaign on that? Did he campaign on that?
He campaigned that he was going to reform the system. So what he's done is he's, in his social realization, he said studies have shown that all this incarceration doesn't do anything. What they need is to get out and reassociate with their communities.
And buy another gun.
That's awful.
That's
Because now
horrible.
they're going and they're back in the hood. They're back doing their thing and they're not afraid.
They're not afraid. That's the key.
They've already done the highest crime, and they're fucking. There's nothing.
Exactly.
There's word out that inmates are calling him Homie Gascon.
Because he's fucking letting them out.
He's letting them out.
He's a homie.
Wow. What a fucking mess that is.
That's not L.A., right? That doesn't feel like an L.A. L.A.
No.
was like a hard DA, man. Like
He was.
Yeah.
He was.
who was the hard ID? The guy that looked like the guy from Spider-Man, the Ira Reiner. Didn't
Ira
look
Reiner.
like
Ira
the
Reiner.
chief from Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Like a cartoon cutout. He had the white hair and the nose. You know, he looked like
Reiner.
somebody drew him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, he was.
Wow.
He was. How long were you chief in San Fernando?
3 months,
He
three and
was
a half
chief.
months.
He was.
Really?
He was the chief of police in San Fernando.
No way.
Yeah, don't call me Wade, but yes.
And throwing fireworks. 4th of July, they still sell fireworks in San Fernando.
Yeah.
They'll fucking burn your fucking house down. Thought they come and shake your hand, the firemen.
Wow. Was that just before you retired, or
That was after I retired. That was 2012.
And he wore a uniform and everything. Andy Griffith,
ironically-
I thought, no gun, Andy Griffith.
Ironically, I kept the bullet right here in my pocket. They coincidentally, the city councilwoman, domestic violence beat the shit out of her councilman boyfriend, and
That's a San Fernando I know.
and so
I remember those.
Fucking everybody stealing calls from Tom Carroll.
it was reported, it was documented, it was photographed, and that happened on Thursday. And by Tuesday, they had a council meeting and they went into closed session. And Wednesday, they advised me that because I wouldn't let it go, they wanted me to sweep it under the carpet, and I wouldn't do it.
Unbelievable.
And so they said my services were no longer needed.
They wanted him to go along with this. Say, hey, man,
so
it didn't happen.
Sorry, it didn't happen.
Sorry.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Wow.
And I told the city manager, I said, just advise them that I take this as a badge of honor. You know, I wasn't looking for a job when they came to me. They wanted me. I don't care. The only person I feel sorry for are the men and women that have to stay working for them. When all the dust is settled, the local newspaper, the
San Fernando Sun.
San
Say
Fernando
Sun Valley. Sun.
they wrote an article in there and said that at first they thought I was in bed with the city council, and they now realize that I was the only man in the city with integrity. And so, and when everything was over, 3 council people were recalled, city attorney and city manager were fired.
Good.
And so it was.
Wow, Gil.
it was
Wow.
good. I love the job. I love the people. I love the cops.
Great city.
I love the
Great
city.
city.
It's not that big. I think there's only like 111 people in San Fernando.
Just inside the arches.
And they were good. It was good.
There's not that many people.
I absolutely hated the drive.
Yeah. Where were you driving from?
East San Gabriel Valley.
Oh shit, that's a drive.
So
Yeah.
it was, and I wouldn't get in if I was rolling hot, if something was going on, I had to get down there. Then I'd get in the carpool lane. But other than that, I'd just stay in the regular lane of traffic like everybody else, and it just.
Chinga.
Did you take a car home, a police car home?
Yeah, I got the chief's car.
That's what I would do.
So they didn't.
And be on the carpool
I
lane
go to
every
fucking
day.
IHOP, I thought be eating fucking, and then and then I would be in there at IHOP, fucking eating all
doggy
the
bags,
with all the
extra.
things. And then they would go, "Here's your check." Boo! I'm sorry, I gotta take off. But you guys have a good day. IHOP, have Cliff from IHOP come out. Hey, fucking settle your bill. Watch out, Cliff. I'll fucking shoot you. I'm Devin Sher Balboa. IHOP right there. But no, he's a man of integrity. You meet very few of those
Very
guys.
few of them. Very few. It's a great story. I mean, man. Have you written? You haven't written a book? No one, nothing? I can't believe it. It's shocking to me.
Hasn't seen Silver Linings Play.
Are you ready to start? Are you ready to start directing?
Are you kidding me? Yeah,
Well,
you
you
kidding
start
me?
writing.
Writing.
Writing, yeah.
Let's do this.
I'm telling you, we got to talk. We definitely have to talk.
You heard it right here. Right
Who do
here.
we get to play Gil?
OMG.
Let's
Yeah, I
get
don't care.
The young
Gabriel
version of
Iglesias.
Gil.
Hey, I don't care if it's Danny DeVito.
Let's get Gabriel Iglesias.
And get him a tan. No, I think something interesting. I was telling George already
Felipe,
when
let
I'd
Felipe
seen
cut
it.
his hair.
I was excited. I was ecstatic when
Hey,
you told me
fool.
you were going to be on, and already the wheels are turning. As a director, as a writer, you always are. You're always thinking. I was like, to see you present day as the audience is seeing what you're dealing with now, how your life is now, retired, and going back into flashbacks, the younger you. Dealing with the case, dealing when you first started the business.
He went to
going back and
Vietnam.
forth.
I mean, listen, man.
It's amazing.
He
Instead
went to
of just being a
Vietnam.
straight story.
I mean, Vietnam was.
Wow.
You hit. I mean, there was no. What is it? You could come back. You could not come back. You could be gone in a day. You could be gone in a month.
You come back, you're different. You changed. I mean, it's just
That's
all
what,
the stories.
that's what my
I
mother
heard.
said when I came back. I came back and she started telling me about problems, and I finally looked at her. I said, "Mom, you don't have problems here, Mom.
You have no idea.
There are little kids in Vietnam that are dying. That 12-year-old kids that we're teaching them how to use guns and protect their village." I said, "They've got problems. You don't have problems." And then she started crying. Ay, mi hijo has cambiado. You know, and then it was tough.
They have that, but they. I mean,
Yeah.
it changed. Kids didn't come back. You know, a lot of kids that.
And
I'm
if they
just-
came back,
were
they
just
were
kids.
different.
We're happy
Lucky.
you came back.
I'm
You're
lucky.
lucky, man.
And when he left beyond, there was a little flat
Squash,
beef. Little
BB squash right there. right in the middle of the village.
Our little squash beef. They made a little soup out of it. And they named the town after him. Man. Beef squash, Cambodia.
No, I think it's a great start. I'd love to talk to you about it and keep in touch with you and do this. This
He's
would be amazing.
The one. Hey, for
real-
between he and I, we have the last 40 years covered in TV and the future 20 years ahead of time.
I'm
Two guys.
serious. You have George play you now, present time. We get somebody younger, and we coincide. We go back and forth. I think it's the best way to tell that
He's
story.
great because he has integrity, man. Like, you know,
you
Chicanos,
kidding me?
man. The guys that were cops that go, "Hey, that
Probably
guy
the only
just-
one I
that guy
know."
stole my bike." Well, fucking don't leave it over there. I'll be looking at this car and chasing it. If I was a cop and some kid said, "Sir, my dad has my mom in a headlock. I had your mom in a fucking headlock two weeks ago."
I'll tell you.
Where were you at?
I'll tell you a story.
I had her in
Like,
a
hey, come on,
headlock.
fuck here. Here's
At the May
$5.
Festival.
What's this for? Get the $5. Get the fuck out of here.
My son,
Police, help.
my son, who has the biggest heart of anybody I know. So he's about 19 years old, and I'm at work. My wife picks him up. He used to be work for a Vans or some shoe sale, some
Yeah.
shoe store. And she picks him up and she says, "I'm gonna stop right here. I'm gonna go in Smart and Final and buy something. I'll be right back." So he's in the car, and she comes out and he's gone with the car. And then he comes driving up and she says, "Where'd you go?" He says, "Oh, Mom." She says, "It broke my heart. I saw some transient going through the garbage looking for food, and I didn't have any money on me to buy him. All I had was my paycheck, and I couldn't stand to watch him, so I just drove away." And so my wife told me that's touching to a father.
Yeah.
My son had a heart. And so I went home. I said, "Son, I understand you saw something today and it broke your heart." He says, "Yeah, Dad, there was this transient." And he tells me the story, and it's very touching. I looked at him and I said, "Did he at least have shoes, son?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Well, then why didn't you kick his ass and steal him?" I said, "Come on, son, you got to take advantage of everything."
Right?
Yeah. And so he laughed.
You can't teach that either. He has it.
No,
Because the
yeah.
family has it.
So it was. I just gave him a hug and I said, "Thank you for being you." You know, he's just a
That's
good
beautiful.
kid. He's a good kid.
That's beautiful. Shit.
San Fernando, a triangle right here. So Yeah, man.
here.
Thanks for coming. Isn't it like the
Oh, this
most
is amazing, man.
It's the most podcast. Even Gil comes back. Unless he's late, he doesn't take the what do
You
you
know,
call
there's
it?
free beer too.
The HOV. What do you call it?
No, I don't
The
take that
carpool
HOV
lane.
lane.
You
Yeah,
can't
it's
take the
carpool.
carpool lane. He's
I
still
came
living
today.
No blast.
I was supposed to. I did. Went down to a place called Schooner Laters in Long Beach, right in the marina. And I found once a week, I go to the VFW post. So I can have a couple of cocktails with the fellas that served.
Oh, man.
And one of the guys I see down there occasionally, we actually flew together in Vietnam. And the first time we found out, and he saw my wife, my kids came up and we were crying. He says, he told my wife, you don't understand why I'm crying. He says, you see, when we were in Vietnam, we didn't even know if we were going to make it back. He says, now, not only did we make it back, but now I get to meet the family.
Amazing.
He says, this is,
Wow.
it's amazing. So these guys going to the VFW.
This dude right here has. That's what could be Mr. Belvedere. He could be everything.
You can't even write the
Friend,
bro.
That what could be
Can't write
Family
it.
Affair. You want to redo Family Affair with kids? Mr. Belvedere. He could be
Some of these guys that meet me at the post.
the good Bill Cosby, like the Chicano, not one that's right there putting fucking polvo in the people menudos.
Out.
The very girls order menudo. Let me have it. I can give them the one from this pot right here.
I'll put some pata in it for you.
But this guy's got like integrity, man. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you go over to the BFW, see that guy, like.
Yeah. So there's some guys there, a couple of guys that retired from the gas company. Mm-hmm. And those are the guys I go and I have fun with. We sit there, spend a couple hours with them, then I'm gone. And they're the same way. So they've invited me, and I've been going to them now, other than during the pandemic, before then, for over a year. They have a luncheon about every 2-3 months. Get about 10 to 15 guys from the gas company, and they go to different spots to eat. They invite me. I go down there because it's just like sitting with the guys from the block, like sitting with cops. They all make fun of each other. They all laugh. They're all retired, and it's just a good time.
Do you have to be a veteran?
No. These guys, there's only 2 or 3 of us that have been in service. The other guys
Maybe
are
they'll let us
just
hang
How
out.
do we get in there?
I don't know.
How do you get in there?
in the VFW. You go, you tell me, you're in.
Okay. Isn't there a VFW? There's a VFW
Isn't
in
there
every
VFW
city.
in San Fernando?
Is that different than Elks Lodge?
Is it Elks
Yeah, it's
Lodge?
different. They have VFW and American Legion. And American Legions are anybody that served in the armed forces, and the VFWs, you had to have combat. You were in combat. So, but we take guests in there. You don't have to be a
Probably empty. The mouth doesn't combat. There's probably one dude in there dancing by himself. Fucking calm, the one left.
So today was the day we had lunch.
Today you're over there.
Today was lunch.
Oh, right
But by
on.
the time we got in, and then there's a half-hour wait. This place is right on the marina. It's a nice place. They serve good
Oh,
food.
really?
Yeah, it's called Schooner Laters, and they were
My daughter's like, "Are you back in town?"
they were.
I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna send this picture. Tell them the BFW. I'm at Schooner later.
So we went there, and they all ordered something to eat. I couldn't order anything to eat because I wasn't going to. By the time the food got there, I wasn't going to be able to eat.
be able to
To
come.
get over here to come down, it was an hour and 2 minutes. That's what it said on my thing. An hour and 2 minutes to get here.
Yeah.
And it took me just about an hour and 2 minutes, an hour and 5 minutes to get down here.
From the marina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Long.
This Gordo still
That's
hasn't
awesome.
had anything to eat today, and he's hungry. And
You have to go eat or something.
yeah.
Right on.
that's
Good. What's the end? How do I close it? I forget. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I got a high. Is that it?
It was awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.